Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be this fun, bright pastel floral nail set. I am super excited for spring. I can't wait. I know we're still a little bit away from it, but the weather is finally warming up and I am so excited. So I wanted to do something very fun and pastel-y, and something about pastel blue just really makes me think of spring, and this color from Vettsy was absolutely perfect. You can see how much I've actually used it when I opened it and showed you the color. It's been used quite a bit. I can almost feel myself like starting to reach the bottom, which is pretty crazy because I usually don't go through a lot of nail products very quickly because I have so many of them, and I try to change it up a bit on the channel. I don't want to use the same colors and the same things over and over again. First of all, that's boring to me, but second of all, I feel like that would be boring to watch also. So I try to change it up a bit, so I don't really go through like full-size gel polishes a lot. Top coats and base coats, that I go through like water, but colored polishes and more interesting things, no, I don't really go through it that often. So this nail set is going to have a lot of fun things. You can see that speckled gel polish from Koko Claire. It's got this light blue base with pink and purple and yellow flakes of like matte glitter or confetti or flakes of something. I'm not really sure what you'd want to call it. So it's super pretty. I did 2 coats on everything so that the colors would be built up nicely, and I'm going to do I think this was a matte top coat, right, if I'm not mistaken. I wasn't really watching what I was doing and I don't remember. Yes, it must have been a matte top coat because I'm going in with a foil, and I like matte top coating before I do transfer foils, mostly because sometimes, like, if you're putting, or for me at least, when I'm putting the foil gel on top of a shiny top coat or on top of like the gel or something like that, it's hard for me to see where I'm placing it, and I've noticed that sometimes I'll like miss a spot and then the foil won't transfer over fully, and then I'll like, you know, have to redo it or fill in the gaps with a second layer. So it's simply just like a utilitarian reason why I do it, just so that I can actually see where I'm placing it, making sure I get the foil gel everywhere that I want it to be. It's not necessary, and it definitely is an extra step. So if you're not interested in doing that, or if you don't own a matte top coat, it's not necessary to get a good transfer. And I've done a whole video on transfer foils, and I don't use any matte top coat in that. So it's purely just so I can see what I'm doing. So as you can see here, I am placing down the foils. So this one didn't end up coming out as dramatic as I was expecting. I always forget that white foils tend to kind of like soak up the color, not like actually soaking it up because the gel is dry, not like the way a sponge soaks up color, but more so because, I don't know, it's just like it almost turns a little bit transparent when I put it on colors, and then it loses a lot of its vibrancy. Like, it always looks a lot more vibrant on actual foil before transferring over to the gel. I'm not sure if it's like a specific type of foil, or just like the foil is so thin that, and with a light color, the base color of the gel just comes through a little bit. I'm not really sure why, but it just ended up not being as bright as I was expecting it to be, but that's okay. And this set has a little bit of everything. As you can see here, I'm going in with some stamping, and I am matching the colors of the stamping polish with the colors that were in that flaky Koko and Claire gel. So that had purple, pink, and yellow in it. So you can see here, I did purple, 2 different colors of pink, and then the centers of all the flowers are going to be yellow. I love how it just adds this brightness. And this plate, the stamping plate, was really simple. It wasn't too complicated, didn't have too many layers. Most of them were just single layers, like just the outline and or like I guess like the whole flower, and then like the center. Some of them had extra leaves, and I do add in a bit of greenery, even though there isn't any green in that Koko and Claire gel polish. I do find that when it comes to doing any kind of florals, adding just a hint of green with some leaves really brings the whole look together. I mean, you can tell what a flower is a flower, you know, but just adding a bit of greenery really just rounds out the whole look. It looks full, it looks like a bouquet, and green can sometimes be a little bit scary. I know sometimes, over there I was struggling a little bit because I was blending a couple of colors together. I wanted to get a nice blend. But what I was saying is sometimes green is a little bit intimidating or daunting for some people. I mentioned this a few times whenever I do florals. I mentioned this when I do floral stamping or stuff like that, that adding a bit of greenery really just brings the whole thing together. It makes it look like a bouquet. And if you're doing a little bit more of like an abstract design, I mean, here you can clearly tell that they're flowers, but sometimes you can do like an abstract flower, or maybe you're doing something a little bit more like watercolored, and it's just not as precise, and it's just a little bit more, like I said, like abstract and flowy and flirty. Adding a bit of greenery really makes a huge difference, even if you have just a couple of leaves here and there. So I just picked this stamping polish. It's this light green. It's like almost pastel, but still has like a bit of mossiness to it. I thought it was a great color. I didn't want it to be too pastel, simply because I just didn't want the set to be too flat. That's why I went with different colors. You can see that lighter pink stamping polish was a bit light. In a couple of the flowers, I actually do a 2 layers of it because it was a bit sheerer than I expected. But I wanted it to have a bunch of different tones, so I didn't want them to all be the same tone and the same color, even though I am trying to keep with the pastel theme, because adding a bunch of different tones and different depths of color really adds dimension in a really simple way, and it really is not complicated. I mean, you can see here, this whole set is super repetitive. I'm just picking the flowers that I like, stamping them down, and this plate, like I said, was really, really easy, and just stamping down pretty much the same greenery. There wasn't a ton of like variety when it came to the greenery for this one. They were all kind of like this similar look. So just stamping that down over here on these nails. And like I said, super repetitive, but super easy. And when you mix up the colors and have it on a bright colored background, it just really pops. And I am so excited to be getting into spring pastel colors, definitely getting me into that vibe. And I think the reason, now that I'm thinking about it and talking about it, why light blue makes me think of spring, which I'm sure I'm not the only one. I'm sure that's like a very common thing. But I'm thinking like robin's eggs, you know, like robin's eggs are like that light blue color. So beautiful, so stunning. And I always know, you know, like when you see that robin, that first robin of spring hopping along the lawn, and sometimes it's still a little bit frosty and cold outside, but that robin with its adorable little red chest just brings so much hope, at least to me. I mean, I could be getting a little bit dramatic here, but I really dislike the winter. I don't like snow, and just when the spring comes, I feel so great. I love summer, but sometimes it can get a little bit too hot, and I mean, it's not fun when you're sweltering and uncomfortable, that's for sure. And I do understand the argument that people make that like summer is just uncomfortable and sticky. I would prefer summer over winter if I had a choice. If I could only choose one, I would definitely do summer over winter, but spring and autumn are definitely my favorites. I love sweater weather. I like jacket weather. I want it to be just cold enough where I put on a light sweater and that's perfect, or a light jacket. I don't want to have to wear a coat. I don't want to have to wear boots, but if I can get just like the slightest bit of a breeze with a beautiful sun and a light jacket, that is my perfect kind of weather. And you know, I'm sure I'm not the only one. That's pretty basic. I think everyone kind of, or a lot of people, like a very neutral, not too cold, not too hot. But I'm just doing a little bit of a crystal placement here. I'm sorry if I wasn't talking too much about the nail set per se, but I mean, I feel like it was pretty repetitive and pretty self-explanatory. It was just a lot of stamping. I mean, at some point, there's not really much to say. So I do apologize, but if you're interested in any of the things that I was using, I will have them listed down below. Yeah, some things I don't know where I got them from, like these crystals, and sometimes I'm not really sure where certain things are from. I'm pretty sure the foil was from maybe like Home of Nail Art, but I'm not 100% sure. But the stamping plate and the stamping polishes were all from Clear Jelly Stamper. I'll have them listed in the description if you are curious on what colors specifically I used. And here is the final set. I think it just looks so bright and fun and happy. I decided to do matte because that way you can see the white lace in the background. It just added a little touch of something interesting, just a little bit of a texture and dimension. Let me know what you think of this set down below, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!